The police are very affable. They seem to be wanting to do the right thing, but they do not do the right thing. And they let the whole story get manipulated on site by Brian and frankly, Gabby. But that's, if you know anything about DV, you know that she's going to do that, you know, and you have an eyewitness, an independent eyewitness saying he hit her. He hit her. When they show up on the scene, she's got bruises and cuts on her face, bruises on her arm, which they do point out. And he's got some sort of marks on his face too. There's the terrible picture. And here's just a bit of how the exchange went when the cops via body cam start talking to Gabby about what happened. It's SOT 8.
You want to tell me what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just some days I have really bad OCD, and
Okay.
I was just cleaning and straightening up back of the van before, and I was apologizing to him and saying, I'm sorry that I'm so mean, because sometimes I have OCD and sometimes I just get really frustrated. Not like mean towards him, I just like, I guess my vibe is like, I am really like in a bad mood, and I'm trying to start a blog.
Okay.
Have a blog and stuff. So I've been building my website, so I've been really stressed, and he doesn't really believe that I could do any of it. So that's kind of been like I don't know. He's like down there. I don't know. We've just been fighting all morning, and he let me in the car before. And then
Why wouldn't he let you in the car? Because
he
of
told me
your OCD?
He told me I needed to calm down. He really stresses me out, and this is a rough morning.
What's that like for you guys now to see her blaming herself almost entirely?
I just want to reach out to her and hug her and be there for her and help her. So it's really difficult to watch, but then it makes us want to fight harder. I mean, we're all about backing the blue and getting the resources to police officers, making sure that they know what domestic violence looks like. There are amazing.
What do you wish those cops knew, Tara? What do you wish those cops on site with Gabby that day knew?
I wish they had the right training and tools to know about strangulation. If they knew about strangulation, I think they could have helped Gabby. If they knew about the red flags, I believe that they would have been able to help her and connect her to the resources necessary for her to get out of the relationship.
Like
safely.
like what? Anything in particular?
There's a few things.
There's a few things.
I don't know what we can really get into,
Yeah, I mean,
to be honest.
so when she puts her hand here, that's an indicator that she's been strangled before.
For the listening audience, you're putting your hand in front of like your chin. Keep going.
Yeah.
No, well,
so
she
it's
covered
like-
her mouth.
She covers here. So even if they cover here, here, or here, it's an indicator that they've strangled before.
Oh, wow.
The markings on him could be an indicator that she was trying to get his arms off of her. A lot of times with strangulation, the defensive wounds are on the perpetrator, not the victim, because they're trying to claw out. There's actually a video here in Florida that a police officer, because there's the sunshine laws, that all of their body cam is, you can see it. So there's a video where a victim bit the perpetrator's arm right here. And the cops were not aware of the fact that that could be an indicator of strangulation as well, even though the woman kept saying that she choked him out. So the defensive wounds can wind up on the perpetrator and not the victim.
Right. The fact that he had marks on him does not mean she was the aggressor. Keep going.
Exactly. So that's one thing. Sorry, I'm just drawing a.
No, that's okay.
That's
okay.
So
It's a very difficult.
there are other things too. You know, listen, you can't lock someone out of their home, right? And they were on a road trip. That vehicle was their home, and that car was registered to Gabby, right? So taking the keys away from her and locking her out of her vehicle is not something that someone should be able to do. You know, there were, I think, 2 911 calls, to be honest, of Gabby
right.
being hit. So When you do all those things, and then there was also a lethality assessment should have been done in Utah. And you can correct me if I'm wrong on that, Brian, since like 2018, which now actually the law now they actually have it as a mandate since 2023. And that was because there was another woman who was killed. Name was Mandy Main, in a domestic violence incident. But she happened to be the lieutenant governor's niece. And when someone who has that type of power, you know what I mean, can get things done quicker.
Yep.
And that's how we were introduced to the lethality assessment. Because once we learned about that, we actually brought that law here to the state of Florida. That was signed last year, and we worked on a committee with the police chiefs, the Sheriff's Association, DCFS, and other DV organizations to help bring it here. And they rolled it out here too. And we're working in other states to do the same, because
Brian,
it is a tool that can help a lot.
Do you want to speak to that, the lethality assessment that more cops are now starting to do, and that these cops, you believe,
a lethality assessment is a series. I can't speak. The lethality assessment is a series of 11 questions that a first responder or a police officer will ask to figure out if a person's in a lethal situation or not. But just asking the 11 questions isn't as important as the county or the department to be tied in with an organization for domestic violence, be a shelter and stuff like that.
So they can get the training. These guys said they had training. I mean, that's the thing. And like the way they're talking about it is like guys who have had training, but you have to wonder if it was the right training. Can you give us a couple of the lethality questions, Joe?
Well, they'll ask you, have you been strangled before? Or is this person, have they, are there kids in the home? Maybe kids that not are theirs. They'll ask a bunch of questions, and you can see it too, that's all broken out, but it's in the way that they ask them. And the really important part is letting the victim read their answers back, because it's almost like that disassociation. When you read a book and stuff like that, sometimes you feel like you're in that book or you're in that character. When they read their answers back in their head, they're like, I can't believe I answered that way. Like they know whether or not that's the truth. So it's things like that can really make that difference. And like I said, now Utah has that law, Florida has that law, New York has got a bill right now. We're working with Wyoming to do it, Georgia to do it, as well as other countries to do it too. So we've been asked to help out with Australia and Ireland and the United Kingdom. So
that's incredible. All right, let me keep it going, because I do want to spend a little bit more time on this traffic stop. Then they talked to Brian, and Brian, he's not crying. He's actually kind of laughing at a couple of points on this. And he's completely dissembling. I mean, if you know anything about how to detect deception, it's jumping off the screen at you. He's not answering the direct questions. He's wiggling. His body language, all of it, which was not detected. But here's SOT 9.
Hey, what's going on?
She just gets worked up sometimes, and I try and really distance myself from her. So like I locked the car and I walked away from her. What happened this morning is that she's trying to start up like her own little website blog and everything. So I give her time. And we really had a nice morning with everything, but so I could walk away. I said, let's just take a breather and let's not go anywhere. Let's just calm down for a minute. She's getting a little worked up, and then she had her phone and was trying to get the keys from me. So that way I was just trying to. I know I shouldn't push, but I was just trying to push her away to go, let's just take a minute, step back and breathe. And she got me with her phone.
So you pushed her and she hit you?
It wasn't like a push and she jumped on me. She was already, I don't know what, she was already swinging, and I was just, a lot of angles, a lot of nails.
Smiling.
It's fine. And I look at her. I hope she doesn't have too many complaints about me.
I hope she doesn't have too many complaints about me. When watching that now does what? I know you don't want to spend a lot of time on him, which is I'm fine with, but it's got to be very striking.
And this is why the lethality assessment is so important, because stranglers are the most dangerous people to walk this earth. If a man ever puts their hand around your neck, the chances of them killing you increases to 750%. And so these questions are not just about the safety of the victim. It's also about the safety of the officers, because, again, they are the most dangerous. It's the most lethal form of domestic abuse.
Domestic violence calls are the most dangerous for officers too. So having the right training, tutelage when it comes to how to handle that situation is all, like you said, you can look at the Florida bill, the Utah bill, and how to handle it. It's a great program. Again, but having the resources is important, and knowing where to go when you're in that situation. If you could put the phone number up, 1-800-799-SAFE, that's the number to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. That's a great place to start. That's the number that we give out, all over the country here. Because
1-800-799-SAFE, just for people listening at home. 1-800-799-SAFE. I do want to get to this next thing. So the cops in this exchange do start talking about how partners wind up murdered. I mean, it's really incredible. But they decide that Brian is the one who was the victim, that Gabby was the primary aggressor. He laughs. I'm going to play SOT 10 and SOT 11 back to back. Let's watch.
We're living together, so you meet the statute for domestic partners, and you do have injury, and both an independent witness, probably the next one we're going to talk to as well, which we haven't talked to yet, but the one we did talk to, and your own companion have made it clear that she was the primary aggressor, and that she was striking you and you just received injuries. You haven't admitted to striking her. She has not admitted to striking her. The witness did not see you strike her. So at this point, you're the victim of domestic assault. That even if you didn't want to pursue this, you don't have a choice.
How far do you want to go with this? Why the domestic assault code is there. It's there to protect people, especially the reason why they don't give us discretion on these things is because too many times women who are at risk want to go back to their abuser. They just wanted him to stop, and they don't want to have to be separated. They don't want him charged. They don't want him to go to jail, and then they end up getting worse and worse treatment, and then they end up getting killed. Mm-hmm. In no way, shape, or form that I can perceive does what happened here, a little slap fight between fiancés who love each other, want to be together, can I perceive that this is going to digress into a situation where he's going to be a battered man?
Right.
But then again, I don't have a crystal ball.
Brian Stewart, you're the attorney. As you hear that, it's incredible what we see there, because you see the cop is right on. He's got it exactly right. Women will defend, and then they'll wind up murdered. But at the end, he completely turns it to he's the victim, and he dismisses the whole thing as a little slap fight. And I think the reason he did that is because he thinks Gabby's the only one who really slapped anyone, notwithstanding her bruised and battered face. What do you make of that?
Well, that's really why this case is so instructive, is because it's so well documented. You can see the injury, you can hear the witness call, you can see how the parties are reacting to each other, and you actually get to see the officer's thought process. So they admit that they know that there was an assault, that there is visible injury on both parties, and that they had witnesses saying that they had hit her. And so they're aware of that, and they choose not to do further investigation, and they choose not to follow Utah law, which required them to effect an arrest and to separate them. And so while they know that the reason for the law is to protect domestic violence victims from the eventual murder or worse violence that can come from not intervening in these situations, they didn't appreciate the risk. They didn't, this officer Pratt said, yeah, that's the law, and yeah, that's what it's intended to prevent, but I don't think that will happen here because of my experience and my biases. And so that's really why the lethality assessment protocol that they should have done would have been so important, because understanding the law and the situation, they could have asked these questions and appreciated and helped Gabby appreciate the danger that she was in.
Can I just ask you, so my own take on it is the cop was saying that I don't think that this is going to turn lethal because he was thinking about Gabby as the abuser. And it seemed to me, he was like, she's the one to blame. I don't think she's going to kill him. And which is just further evidence to me of how this thing got off the rails. He had it wrong. His foundational assumptions were all wrong. And I will tell you my own take watching it is, it gets very irritating because everyone there is kind of dismissing her as this hysteric. You know, the cops on scene, Brian's kind of laid back laughing like, oh, you know, she's hysterical. And then Gabby is the only one blaming herself. No one there is really probing whether Brian is to blame. Like, that to me is the real problem here, Brian. I don't know how do we train cops to get past that when both of the perpetrators are blaming the woman, and the cops here seem to have a natural inclination that women are hysterical, and really, obviously, she's the emotional problem.
Right. And that really becomes obvious, the biases that they have. They're clearly identifying with Brian. Even during the stop, they have conversations with Brian saying, yeah, my wife gets crazy too. My wife gets upset too. And so they're identifying with Brian and his situation in dealing with an upset woman. And so they're not seeing it from Gabby's perspective. So part of the training that officers and law enforcement need is not just, you know, what are the signs and what is the law, but also to be aware of their own biases and to be aware enough to be able to put themselves in the situation of both of the participants in a domestic violence situation.
You don't go out and buy a life jacket when the boat is already sinking, and you don't buy gold when the economy has already collapsed. Clearly, others are heeding this advice as gold hit all-time highs already this year. It's not too late for you too, and you could have Birch Gold help you diversify into physical gold. Birch Gold specializes in helping you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold for no money out of pocket. One recent 5-star review said Birch Gold was, quote, knowledgeable, helpful, non-pressure. Get your free info kit on gold by texting the letters MK to the number 989898. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and countless 5-star reviews, just text MK to 989898 and let the experts at Birch Gold help you secure your future today with gold. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.